Do it.
Okay, hello everybody. Sorry, I got this camera's a little off, Sam.
You need to scoot over.
We're yeah, you're good. You're good.
All
We're
right.
we made some last minute changes with some technical difficulties, but I think we're gonna power through. This is, of course, the Fantasy Books and Games Tuesday night comic book preview stream
Yeah.
with Aaron and Sam. We like talking about new comics, so I am there's it's not like a huge week for comics, but you handed me my pull this morning, and like I think my eyes like actually like bulged out like a cartoon. I just was not expecting that.
Yeah.
Hey, Jesse Bells. And so, because I there's not a lot of new stuff. Like I always like to pull off new stuff to
Right.
kind of like show it off, and there's not a whole lot, but like my stack was still huge, and it's just a lot of stuff that I've just been buying for the last several months. It's all on issue 5, 6, 7, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to talk about some of that, but not all of it. I don't want to get a little repetitive. There is some new stuff. There are some, there are some my favorite facsimiles coming out
Yeah.
tomorrow. But we're gonna break with tradition. We're not gonna start with facsimiles today
Why?
because we have these two giant compendiums that are coming out tomorrow, and I wanted to show them off, and they take up so much space on my little zone here that I don't want them to be sitting there for the whole time. So there's two compendiums. If you're a compendium reader, there's it kind of runs the gamut here, like something old and something new. Let's show off. Oh my God, this is so heavy. This is The Wicked and Divine, the complete compendium, I believe. Yeah, this is the whole series, and this is one of those gigantic. Let's just look at this here. This is one of those gigantic $60 books that collects. I don't think it says the issues here, but it's just the whole run, and like it's got. Let's see if I can get it on the camera there. There we go. Yeah, so a series by Jamie McKelvey and Kieran Gillen, who I read. What was their magical music series?
Phonogram?
Phonogram.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah, I read that.
Phonogram.
I never actually read Wicked and Divine.
Okay.
So have you read this one,
I've
Sam?
read like the first 2 or 3 volumes. I can't quite remember where I left off.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I did.
Yeah, they're a solid team.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so maybe now that we got a complete compendium, I'll give it a read. These things are hefty.
Yeah.
Just gigantic books. But it's kind of cool. It's just nice having like the complete series in one enormous tome. Another compendium that comes out tomorrow. This one is not as heavy, which I think
Really?
speaks to yeah. I
It
feel
looks
like
bigger.
it looks bigger, but it's not as heavy, which
Ah.
speaks to the printing style. This is the Transformers Compendium 1 from Skybound Image. Robert Kirkman is reprinting the Transformers and the G.I. Joe stuff,
Nice.
and this is much like the similar to the G.I. Joe compendium that came out last year. The print quality on this is incredible. Like it's on like the newsprint. I don't know if it's actually newsprint or just like faux newsprint, but the colors on it just look amazing, like
Yeah.
exactly like the original comics would have looked. I've never really read much of these original Transformers comics, which is, like
I'm surprised.
I know, like I'm a
Yeah.
huge GI Joe guy. That's always been my
Oh,
thing.
okay.
But the new Transformers series is really fantastic, and it's sort of got me interested in reading some of the old Transformers books.
Well,
So
there
I
you go.
might be, it's like I collect GI Joe and I like getting back issues. I don't know if I want to go down that road of trying to collect back issues for Transformers. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need another series to try and get. So this compendium, this might be it for me. But yeah, it's really light. Like, feel that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that's the difference. Now feel this. That's the difference here. Both hands. Ooh, that's the difference in like the newsprint. I mean, it's tremendously noticeable.
Very noticeable.
Yeah, yeah. So that's just because this is that thicker paper. They got the. I mean, it's glossy paper. It's more detailed art. That requires a finer printing. But yeah, just it's shocking. It's shocking how much lighter this Transformers book is compared to the Wicked and Divine, and they're like the same size. Like the books are, like you said, the
Roughly the
Transformers one
same.
might actually look a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's crazy. Okay, Okay, now that we got those hefty boys out of the way, now let's talk about my favorite thing, the
Facsimiles.
facsimiles. And we got a couple of good ones coming out tomorrow. There's another DC's just clipping along with another one of these gigantic limited collector's editions, and this is Superman versus Shazam. I've never read this one. I'm very excited to read this because I love Superman and I love Shazam,
Yeah.
and I've I've not read a lot of this era of Shazam, the I guess like the Bronze Age when they brought him into the DC universe. But if I'm not mistaken, this is like a story where I don't know if it's like a crisis type story where they're both on like different parallel dimensions where they like meet each other for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's kind of what this is, where this might be the story where they're bringing Shazam into the DC universe. I couldn't tell you because I haven't read this one today. I've never read this one before, but it looks cool. Very excited about it. I love me some old comics.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one's a good one. Ooh, there it goes. I got another facsimile coming out. Probably one of the more famous covers
Yep.
just in the history of comic books, and that is of course the Uncanny X-Men 135. This is like the peak of the Dark Phoenix saga. This cover right here. I mean, Jean Grey, gigantic, all the X-Men smashing the logo. I was talking about this with a friend the other day. I don't I can't imagine this is the first instance of a character like the cover art distorting the logo,
Yeah.
but it feels like it's one of the earliest, if it's not the first.
That seems like didn't Eisner mess with the lettering and stuff?
So
in his-
yes,
yeah.
that was yeah. That's a good point because that was Eisner's whole thing was that he would draw the logos and incorporate it into the art.
Right.
Where I feel like this is a little bit different than that though. This is like the logo that is the standard logo, which is normally on top of the art,
Right.
like being incorporated into it. So it's it's a little bit of a novelty in that respect. But yeah, this is the issue where Jean Grey goes Dark Phoenix. And if you've been, I mean, this is if you've never read this before, I think this is possibly the most important X Men comic to read. Like if you're just curious about the X Men, this is like peak X Men.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it wouldn't be that hard to follow because the story, the general story of it, is so ingrained in like just kind of pop culture consciousness. You know,
Yeah.
this is the issue where Jean goes like she doesn't just become evil. She flies into another galaxy and blows up a sun and kills an entire planet of people or of alien beings. So this was kind of a big deal because it was the reason that I would actually go so far as to say that this story kind of is responsible for setting the precedent of characters dying and coming back.
Right.
Because Jean Grey, there was like an editorial mandate. Like this wrote the story that where she blows up this planet, and Jim Shooter, to the editor, was like, "Well, okay, or the editor in chief of Marvel at the time was like, okay, well, if you have her do that, she has to pay mighty repercussions. Like she doesn't just get to be a superhero after destroying billions of sentient life forms. So that's why they killed her. And then later on, several years later, when they had the bright idea to get the original X-Men team back together, they were like, well, we can't because Jean Grey's dead. You made us kill her. And he said, bring her back. And so now it's just like characters die and come back all the time. To be fair, it's sort of built into the whole idea of the Phoenix to rise again, So I'm like kind of okay with it, but it was still pretty complicated at the time.
Yeah.
But still, some of my favorite X-Men comics right here. Very glad to have these facsimile reprints. All right, I got one more book. It's not strictly a facsimile, but it kind of falls in this weird middle ground where it's like a reprint, but it's also kind of new. And that is Rob Liefeld's Youngblood Deluxe. I talked about issue 1 when it came out. This is it's a reprint of the Youngblood Deluxe. I think it only came out as a hardcover like 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And so this is the first time it's being printed as issues. And what it is, it itself is a remix of the first run of Youngblood by Rob Liefeld, but it's been rewritten by Joe Casey, who
Oh.
is, you know, if we can just be frank, a monumentally better writer than Rob Liefeld.
That's not where I thought you were going.
Yeah, like, you know, I know Rob's kind of the punching bag of the comic book industry,
Yeah.
but I think there's a certain charm to some of the stuff that he does, and it's actually really interesting to me to compare the deluxe updated version, and it doesn't, it's not just rewritten, it's recolored, so it's got like fancier, newer colors, and it's been, like I said, remixed where he kind of rearranges some of the pages to tell the story like a little bit better for what he wants to do. The original Youngblood issues were flip books, so they would have like a 10-page story, and then you could flip it over and have a different 10-page story. So Joe Casey's version is integrating it all into just one like longer story. But it's interesting to kind of compare this. I guess it's the deluxe version. You could maybe call it like the, what was those the Star Wars special editions. This is like a special edition version. Was updated the effects a little bit, rewrote some dialogue. But if you compare it to the original one, I don't know. There's kind of a certain charm to the original one that gets lost in this, where it's like, it's almost like they're taking it a little too seriously,
Right.
you know. And I kind of like that the original one is a little cheesier. Like, I mean, Joe Casey's he's doing his darndest to make this work, and it's, I like reading it as just that creative experiment because I like seeing how something can be presented differently,
Right.
you know, different angles.
By a
So
different creative lens.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's really cool. I would recommend reading it. I don't know. I mean, it's like, if you're not interested in Youngblood at all, I don't know if I could recommend it, just for the exercise, you know, if you will, of, because you got to find the original ones and read those and then compare it to the new one. But I really like it. And if you missed the first issue, this is issue 2. There's a second printing of issue 1 that also comes out tomorrow. I forgot to grab it, so I don't have it here to show off, but it is here in the store, so you can pick up second printing of issue 1, and then also issue 2 comes out. And you know what? I know there's a lot of Rob Liefeld fans out there, so I know you're gonna want this. Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. I don't want to like stir the pot or kick a hornet's nest or anything like that. Okay, let's move on to some actually new stuff that's coming out tomorrow. Issue I have not read, but I know everybody's pretty darn excited about it. Predator versus Spider-Man issue 2. Now this is a pretty sick cover. I gotta admit, I kind of like this. Oh man, come on, camera, get into focus. Yeah, there we go. Mary Jane on the floor, like yes, Predator's like going after Spider-Man there. Yeah, pretty cool. I have not read this issue. This is the first time I'm flipping through it. Let's see what we see. Oh yeah, there we go. Predator. I mean, who would have thought you'd expect to see a Predator in Spider-Man Predator comic? Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about this. Like I said, I didn't read it. I liked the first issue enough. I liked that it, spoiler alert, it incorporated Kraven the Hunter, which, you know, makes perfect sense. Like, how are you going to have Predator and not have Kraven? Like, in a way, Spider-Man kind of already gone through this whole Predator thing with Kraven the Hunter. So, but I know everybody's really excited about these Predator crossovers. They did the Predator Black Panther, Predator Wolverine, and now Predator Spider-Man. So, and it's all written by Benjamin Percy, who I think is a pretty solid writer. Nice. So yeah, good stuff. Check it out. I got one more book. Again, I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I talk about Superman every time it comes out. I'm still just really enjoying this series. It's a different artist than the previous. I guess that's the only thing I would say. I don't want to like highlight too much, but it looks like there's a substitute artist in here. Looks really good. Haven't read it yet, but Superman and Red Kryptonite. That's kind of what's going on. Mm-hmm. There's been I think the last issue was really good, where it had. There's a good story going on with Lex Luthor. Have you been reading this main
I think I read the Lex Luthor, because he had like a one-shot.
There was the Lex Luthor one-shot, yeah. Mm-hmm. I read there's a good thing. I like this story that's happening with Lex, where he's kind of a good guy because he got amnesia, and he doesn't remember. Like, amnesia is like kind of selective and weird, where he like remembers things about his life, but he just doesn't remember being an evil guy, and so he's just trying to make up for it. And then there was, I guess the short answer would be a clone of Lex Luthor who had Superman's powers and who was like factory set to be the old evil version in the previous issue, and so
Yeah.
they kind of had to fight. And it's good stuff. I'm really enjoying this current Superman series. Have you been following? I think we've talked about this every time it comes out. Have you been following Absolute Wonder Woman?
I am behind like 2 issues.
I'm also behind a few issues,
Yeah.
and still being behind a few issues. I think it's possibly
Still
the
your-
best, if not one of the best. Well, it's got some competition from a new series that we will talk about that also comes out tomorrow. This is Absolute Wonder Woman number 8. New storyline starts here, and I just love the way this book looks.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's really really good. Like the muted colors work really well. Like it's not super bright, but it still looks colorful. It's good. This issue has Dr. Poison in it, and I like this design for Dr. Poison.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, just this is a good book. Like I said, I haven't read this issue, but Absolute Wonder Woman, probably the best Absolute book coming out, if
Ooh.
not for Absolute Martian Manhunter number
Yeah.
3. Now I did read this one, and did you read this one?
I haven't read.
Okay,
that
well I don't want to spoil too much, but man, this book, it's by Denise Camp and Javier Rodriguez, and this I love every single thing about this book. Like it just looks great. All the bright colors that contrast against like the dim dismal reality,
Mhm.
and I like the way the colors are used to kind of show his Martian powers, like his telepathy and stuff.
Right.
And in this issue, we see him investigating a freak series of murders, and he can kind of tell that they all have this like white halo around them. Which I think you read issue 2, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so you know that like the antagonist or villain is like a white Martian,
Right.
so that's it. Really good issue.
Okay.
I won't say much else, but Absolute Martian Manhunter. I know a lot of people, a lot of you out there are probably like, it looks weird, and I also don't care about Martian Manhunter. I like Batman and Superman, maybe Wonder
Yeah.
Woman. You're missing out. This
You
is
are.
genuinely just a fantastic, incredible comic book. Like I said, I probably would actually have to say Martian Manhunter is my favorite of the Absolute books. It's just that good.
I would say that only after 2 issues.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. There's something about it.
It's magical. Like
Yeah.
I think I really like it because it's like a mainstream comic that doesn't necessarily look like a mainstream comic,
Feels
but
very Vertigo.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's like Vertigo, like an old classic Vertigo book, where I don't think it's not like indie alternative underground weird. Like it's
Not
very
quite.
approachable,
Yeah.
but it just doesn't have that like cookie cutter blandness of a lot of general Marvel and DC superheroes. You know what I mean?
I know it.
So yeah, really, really good. Highly, highly recommended. Also, one of my favorite books coming out. Like I said, we're just like so many issue like 6s and 5s in here. This is Metamorpho number 6, and I'm sad to report, it's difficult to see on this camera, but that's Metamorpho's face in the sun. I think it shows up a little bit better here.
Better.
I'm sad to report, I'm pretty confident this is the final issue of Metamorpho. I think it's just
Aw.
going to get 6 issues. But this is absolutely one of my favorite books coming out right now. I've talked about it a lot every issue that's come out, so I don't want to repeat myself. But if you're a fan of Silver Age comics and like classic storytelling, you gotta read this. That's a lot of fun. Steve Lieber doing the art, and Al Ewing just killing it with his retro style. Like all the text narration is got a lot of like weird slang,
Yeah.
like from the 60s. Just really, really like this comic, and very sad. There's no justice in this world when your favorite comic that nobody reads gets canceled.
Yes.
But definitely, you know what? I'm sure you can find the issues out there. I think you will enjoy it if you read it. If you have just a little bit of joy in your heart, you know. Let's see. I'm gonna like blast through a couple of more books here, and then we're gonna talk about something that you've read.
Gotcha.
Just like I got a few stuff that again we're like on issues 2s and 3s here. Daredevil Cold Day in Hell, issue
Ooh.
2 comes out. Now, we do have, I think we still have second printings of number 1. This book, like, sold out instantly. Issue 1 did. Have you read issue
Cool.
1? Oh,
Yeah,
it's so good.
It was good.
This book this is one of my favorite Daredevil comics I've read in several years. It's Charles Soule and Steve McNiven. McNiven's art. He is just. I mean, like, look at how beautiful this is. He is slaying it on here. It's he's definitely, I don't want to say experimenting, but he's definitely pushing his limits on like the stuff he's done in the past. I like all this line work. He is definitely, I would say he's channeling Frank Miller, honestly, which is kind of what everybody does when they do Daredevil, but usually it's in the writing, not the art, where I feel like McNiven here. I'm trying to find this page. Spoiler alert, I guess. Elektra shows up, and like her big reveal. Yeah, there you go. Like that. That looks like he's really going after the Frank Miller style. Like
With
her
the hair, especially.
yeah, like she got that just enough like blockiness to her face with like the lips. Like, but it's funny because I know that if you've paid attention to maybe online internet discourse, Frank Miller has been doing a lot of variant covers for Marvel lately, and not a lot of people have kind things to say about them. I guess is
About
what
his
I would
covers?
say about his covers. Yes.
Yeah.
His, you know what, and I don't want to say anything more beyond that.
No.
But it is funny because I do kind of think that this, like Steve McNiven, is doing the Frank Miller that I think a lot of people expect Frank Miller to still do.
Right.
But like Frank Miller's moved beyond this. But yeah, this is really good. I again, like one of the best Daredevil comics I've read in years. Yep. So definitely check that. And it's only 3 issues too, which is kind of tragic because I would read so much more of this. Also coming out tomorrow, Assorted Crisis Events #3. I haven't had a chance to read this issue, but I read the first 2 issues. We talked about this one when the last 2 issues came out. This is a fun idea. It's by Denise Camp, who also writes Absolute Martian Manhunter. And this is basically just short slice of life stories about people trying to survive in a city where there are literally crisis events happening, like DC Comics Crisis on Infinite Earth style, where just like reality is warping and things, you don't know what is real anymore. And this has been really, really good. Art by Zawadzki, who I'm not familiar with, Eric Zawadzki, but really great looking book. A lot of like character emotion and also just weird stuff that he gets to draw.
Right.
So I don't remember. Did you read the first 2 issues?
I read the first one.
Okay, you read the first one.
Yeah.
Did you like it?
I did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. If you want to like, again, if you like Absolute Martian Manhunter, I'm sure you're already reading this. Yeah. But yeah, it's cool stuff. Also coming out tomorrow, I've talked about the last 2 issues. We're taking everyone down with us, #3. I really like this comic. I like to usually try out new stuff, and there's a lot of new stuff where I'm like, it's good, but I don't need to read any more of it. Like I've got so many books to read. It's really difficult to compete for my attention, and I like this one a lot. I think the first issue really hooked me with the presentation. I forget, Sam, did you read these?
I did not.
Okay, so the first issue really hooked me with its presentation, where the perspective is from a little girl, and she's like, her dad is a scientist and they're working at a facility, and she's got all these like robot babysitters basically that are supposed to watch her. And then as the story unfolds, you realize that her dad is basically like a supervillain, and super soldiers come to try and stop him from doing what he's doing. But you know, this, as the story continues to unfold, things are not necessarily as black and white as they appear. And there's like supervillain characters. With issue 2, I would say it kind of took a Venture Brothers-esque tone, where there was a little bit more humor, and they were kind of playing up the absurdity of just like these people with not necessarily powers, because it's more like a Johnny Quest, James Bond kind of a setting, you know, where they're like super spies, you know. But yeah, I like this comic a lot. It looks great. It's written by, I think it's Matthew Rosenberg. Yeah, Matthew Rosenberg, and art by Stefano Landini. And wow, really, really cool comic. Highly recommend it. Okay, Sam, I think I've talked enough for the last like 30 minutes. let's see. I know you had a few things.
I
that
got
you
a few
read.
things. I
All right,
only
what do you want to
got
talk
to read.
about?
So let's talk about Mommy Blog.
Mommy blog. Okay. You know what? I saw that one on the stands, and I said, I don't know if I'm ready to commit to mommy blog, but I'm
It's-
glad you read it
I
because
did.
I admit it piqued my curiosity.
So I didn't finish it. I got about halfway through. It felt like a thicker book than just like a 24 page.
Is it a one
standard.
shot?
It is a one shot.
Okay, that's why.
That's
Let's put
probably
it on
why.
the camera. This is okay. So yeah, so this is Ninth Circle. I forget. That's yeah. This is just like a this. So this is like probably an oversized one shot
Right.
issue. So what's it about?
It's about an unhinged mom. She's a blogger, and she's just reached, I think, what is it, 20,000 viewers on her blog,
Mhm.
and then she also kills people.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, they kind of like, it's crazy. They go into like insane detail about all the different archetypes of moms, all the things about her blog, and then what's
Mhm.
happening with her kids. But when she kills somebody, she just kills it.
She
It's just like, you know,
It just
like no
happens, matter of-
mention of
yeah.
it. Yeah, there's nothing in the text really to indicate what's going on. But yeah, I mean, I liked what I read. I'm eager to finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The art looks good.
Mm-hmm.
It looks very like there's. I like this. Oh, I got a lot of. Whoa.
Sorry about that.
Oh
I
my
forgot
goodness.
about that.
Oh, this is an R-rated comic. Woo.
My
I mean,
bad.
you know what? She is a mom. Like that happens. But yeah, no, it looks. I like the style. Like it's very stylized.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see, like, just looking at this cover, they're definitely playing with the, like, what did you say, unhinged? This comic is
Yeah.
unhinged. They're kind of playing with that, like crazy under the surface, kind of like, you know,
Yes.
she's smiling, and it's a normal smile, but also she looks a little crazy.
Right.
So yeah, it looks pretty interesting. All right.
Yeah, I would recommend what I read.
You recommended. Okay, good. I also recommend, this is like I said, I talk about a lot of these books week in, week out. I got to recommend G.I. Joe. And the only reason we're even going to talk about it today is that this issue features my personal favorite G.I. Joe,
Really?
Beachhead. This is,
Oh.
I've been on camera before talking about how much I love Beachhead. And this is Beachhead's introduction to the Energon universe. And I think he did. He was in one of the Silent Missions books that's not in the Energon universe. That was by Phil Hester, which was also a great comic.
Yeah.
But I really like this. So this story in particular, this is a good jumping on point. Like if you heard good things about G.I. Joe, this is essentially kind of just a one-shot story. Up until this point, we've been following the main characters, Duke and his team of G.I. Joes. And this issue, we introduce the second G.I. Joe team, who are basically like the secret ops wetworks
Okay.
team that Duke doesn't know about. And they're led by Flint, who is another cool Joe. And yeah, this is basically just a full-on action solo story with Beachhead taking out mercenaries. It's not Cobra, but it is Major Blood, who is like Cobra adjacent.
Okay.
And yeah, it's just full of action. It is a different artist too, but I really like it. Like I was a little Andrea Milana, and I was like, because I saw Tom Riley wasn't drawing it, and I was like, oh no, am I gonna have to say something bad about GI Joe? And I'm not, because it looks great. Like it's just, I don't know. Beachhead is a cool character for me. He's just,
What makes him your favorite Joe?
I'll be perfectly honest. I thought the toy looked cool. It was like 100%. Like the toy looked cool. He's like in camo pants, and he's got the green pullover baklava, whatever it's called.
Right.
And also he's in the animated movie from like 87, 88, the G.I. Joe movie, and he had all the funniest lines in the movie.
Perfect.
And they kind of play on that a little bit, because in the movie he's the guy that trains the new recruits.
Mhm.
And the whole, like, the through line through this story is he's going on one last mission to prove that he's still capable of doing these missions, and he refuses to like retire and become a drill sergeant.
Right.
He doesn't want to train people. He wants to just continue to be a valuable member of the team. And he's kind of like a a hard butt You know, I don't want to. You know, we don't try to keep it clean on this.
Hard
On
butt.
a hard butt, yeah. He's a little bit of a hard butt, and yeah, he's just the costume exactly. He's just cool dude,
Yeah.
and I've just always liked him. So very excited. I really like this issue. Plus, it does develop the ongoing plot from the previous issues. But it's nice to see the book expanding the characters, like with uh, Beachhead and Flint and Lady J's in it as well. So I'm just really liking it.
Nice.
And also, I'm just gonna briefly show they put out this variant cover, this like die cast,
Ooh.
and it's like it folds back and it's got the like wraparound. And darn it, you know they haven't been doing this for every character, but they did it for this Beachhead one. And darn it, I said Beachhead's my favorite character, so I might end up having to get this. They did one for Cobra Commander for issue 1, and they're kind of neat, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't like buying multiple copies of the same issue, you know. I don't like doing that.
I get it.
But I confess I do it every now and then, and I'm probably gonna have to do it for Beachhead. I mean, I did say he was my favorite.
They heard you.
They heard me. They got me. Yeah. I was talking to Phil Hester at a comic book convention over the weekend,
Cool.
and I was telling him how much I liked that Beachhead Silent Missions issue that came out last month, and he said, yeah, a lot of people really like Beachhead, and he got a lot of good feedback about it, and I told him. I told him what I just said. Like, he was my favorite because I just thought the toy looked cool. And he goes, that's the thing I hear all the time about G.I. Joe. Like, people just like it because they think it looks neat. And so he was like, I don't think he was ever really into G.I. Joe or anything,
really?
but because, you know, he's a little older than me, so he probably wouldn't have been available for the correct age for the toys. But yeah, he just is like, yeah, you know, that's the cool thing about G.I. Joe is, you know, people just like it because it just looks neat and you can have fun with that. So yeah, I don't know. That's my little anecdote about my new best friend, Phil Hester. Got a couple other books coming out tomorrow. We'll talk about this real quick. The Mummy, issue 3. This is another one that's like in my regular poll. I've talked about the last couple of issues. I really like this. It's by Faith Erin Hicks, and it's just it's kind of like it's a contemporary retelling of the classic Mummy story, but I like that it's a period piece, that it's set in like the 1920s when archaeological digs were, you know, the British were ripping up the pyramids and stuff.
Very problematic.
Yes, exactly. But you know, I feel like you have to set it at that time frame. If it was like the present day and you were just like, let's march into Egypt and find a cursed ancient Egyptian mummy, like it would just feel wrong in many ways. But yeah, this is really good. It's basically like a love story told through time, which is kind of what The Mummy is about. The mummy's resurrected, and the main character is the reincarnation of the mummy's lost love.
Right.
And yeah, it's really spooky. It's not really. I think what I like about it is that it's got like a weird edge to it, but it's very approachable art. Like, there's nothing. Like, it's horror, but it's like classic horror, where it's not just a bunch of like gruesome visuals. It's all just the horror kind of is just in the story, and yeah, just really good. I've been enjoying these the Skybound Universal Monsters books. Like, they've all been really solid. Like, they've just picked some really great creators and just putting out just classic, like really good classic interpretations of the characters. I don't know if you've read any of them.
I haven't read any of them. I don't think.
I do recommend them. Okay, I've got 2 books here. You've got one.
I've got one.
Let's just talk about this really quick, because I kind of don't want to talk about it, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Giant Size X-Men #1 comes out tomorrow. And yes, this is the same title that they use for like a million other Giant Size X-Men #1s. And I don't know. I guess all I can say is I kind of hate this comic.
So what's the premise? Like, what?
So the premise is it's a time travel story.
Right.
And I guess this is kind of a reveal, not really a spoiler, because this is how the story starts. Legion goes back in time to kill Professor X again, which was the premise that launched the Age of Apocalypse story arc. And so this is like doing that again,
Okay.
except without the Age of Apocalypse part. So Legion is going back in time, and then we get kind of introduced to Miss Marvel and her complicated continuity, which is just I just stupid. Like not like her stories aren't stupid, but just the fact that like on an editorial level that Marvel like can't figure out what they want to do with her. Like she got her powers from inhuman Terrigen mists, and now they're like trying to say she's a mutant,
Right.
and it's just really complicated, and it just makes me roll my eyes because we've got like all these pages of a conversation between her and her friend, and they have to like get all the relevant information out there,
Yeah.
and just reading it, you're just like, wow, this is stupid. Like, why wasn't she just a mutant to begin with?
That
You
is
know,
a
which
good. As somebody who's familiar with kind of her origins and stuff like,
uh
I love Kamala Khan. I think she's a great.
oh sure, yeah.
superhero.
I'm not
Um,
like in all of my complaining. I'm not saying
right.
like the character is bad. This is just I think the execution of what they're trying to do is poor.
It's. Do you think that the sliding over of her to the mutant side of things
Hmm.
has something to do with like what they're trying to do with the cinematic universe,
Um,
or
it's, I don't know how much of this is conspiracy theory or it has been confirmed, but I think originally was supposed to be a mutant. But at the
oh
time, this was at the time when
yeah,
Marvel was trying to devalue the X-Men mutant brand, and they were just going to bring the Inhumans into the MCU as like the feared and hated community of superpowered people, because Marvel, this was before Marvel Disney bought the Fox assets, and this is so basically Fox owned the X-Men. And this is confirmed. This isn't a conspiracy theory, but there was a mandate at Marvel to basically just downplay the X-Men. We want to make the Avengers popular, and we want to make the X-Men unpopular because those jerks at Fox won't sell us back the movie rights, and we can't use them in the MCU. So just we don't care about the comics.
right.
And so they would have originally made her a mutant, but they're like, no, it has to be an Inhuman because Inhumans are going to be the next big thing. But then that all just kind of blew up in their face because nobody cared about the Inhumans. And do you remember, there was like a show.
There was a show.
You
And
remember
it
that?
didn't do very
It
well.
didn't do very well, right? Exactly. And then Disney just bought the X-Men back from Marvel, and now they're like, okay, scrap all the Inhuman stuff. We can do the mutants now. I think she was also supposed to be a mutant too. Her whole story is an afterthought, and it's sad because I really like her too. I like the
Yeah.
show a lot. Yeah, exactly. Like it's just frustrating. That's really what I'm getting at. It's
Yeah.
just like I kind of, and to be fair, this whole story might just be an excuse to fix all of that
Right.
because it's time travel and they're gonna like probably, you know,
Change some
mucky
stuff.
muck with
Yeah.
some stuff. But so that's like if that's the goal, that's fine. I'm not complaining about that. But it just like it's just they try to they have to explain her convoluted origin and backstory, and then she goes back in time to the events of Giant Size X-Men #1, where there's Cyclops on the lawn who's distressed because he lost all the X-Men on Krakoa.
Right.
And then, but also it's a little complicated because past Cyclops knows who she is because his future self, or no, his past self went into the future and was on the new champions.
From like the first class, like
I
when
guess
Beast
so.
brought them
I
back.
think so. Yeah.
What? Oh
I-
my god.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
That's too much.
know,
Oh
like,
my
it's like-
god.
There's so much. It's like so rooted in just like continuity that I don't think anybody cares about. Which again, maybe they're doing this so they can clean all of this up. Who knows? But yeah, so she like the story. It's just like all this stuff, and then she gets an X-Men costume because they're gonna go.
Cool.
She meets all the new X-Men, and it's all very I don't know. It's very like it's that type of it's very like wholesome. It's like
Yeah.
forced wholesome, you know, where she's just like, "Oh, isn't this great? We're getting to see this original moment from the original X-Men. Aren't you all in awe of just how great it is that we're doing this?" I don't know. I'm so cynical, but it just made me roll my eyes
Yeah.
just over and over again. And yeah, they go on the mission, they fight Krakoa, and then Legion shows up, and yeah, you know, yada yada yada, more time travel stuff. If it can fix Kamala Khan and make her a less complicated character, then that's good. But I also feel like you could do that in a single issue rather than a series. and also you could do it in a story that doesn't involve just going through the X-Men's greatest hits and just retelling the story, but with her in it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. This is like everything that I hate about comics. It's like so much navel gazing, continuity rehash. Like just do something new with the character. She's supposed to be a new character. Like
Right.
I think that's what bothers me.
Well, and I thought the angle of the new stuff was supposed to be that she could be both a mutant and an Inhuman, which is like, that's actually kind of cool.
That's
like,
interesting. And
yeah.
maybe, you know what, maybe they'll play that up and I'm completely wrong. They're not going to just like wipe it out, but I don't know. I just blah 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 blah.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna save this other one. I have good things to say about this last book, but what I know you read one other thing.
I have great things to say about it.
Great things to say.
Vinland Saga Volume 14 comes out tomorrow.
All right.
I am so excited. I believe this is supposed to be the last volume or the last installment in the Vinland Saga.
Final saga.
Yeah.
All right.
Man. If you haven't read this,
I've never read Vinland Saga. I've had multiple people recommend it to me, and I didn't realize that it's continued to be like published this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like 3 years ago, people were telling me to read Vinland Saga.
Probably because that's around the time that the anime came out, which was my first introduction to it.
That could be.
That was it was like maybe closer to 5 years ago. It's been a while.
Okay.
But I am super excited. They're gonna wrap this up. It's probably not gonna have a happy ending.
You don't?
No, I don't think so. Just from what I read, the story starts. Our Vinland Saga starts with.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Our camera is like.
Good.
I feel like it wants to get into focus. It's just not doing it.
It's trying.
Come on. All right. Well, I'm gonna give it one more shot. Like, let's.
You can do it, camera.
Do it.
Come on.
Maybe some motion in the.
No.
Okay. Well. All right. I told you we were gonna have some technical difficulties tonight. I just. They are. They're there. So anyway, what's the story of Vinland Saga?
So Vinland Saga starts out as a quest for revenge.
Okay.
The hero Thorfinn loses his father at a very young age to some Vikings, one of whom is named Askeladd, and he wants to kill Askeladd.
Okay. Very straightforward Viking revenge.
Right. He stows away on Askeladd's ship, also as a young kid, and Askeladd just humors himself, like by training him, to be an assassin.
Does he know who he is? He's just like, I'll train you. You're never gonna kill me, so I'll train you.
But he's gonna try.
Okay, interesting. All right.
So they have like an arrangement.
It's very Viking.
Yeah. Every time Thorfinn does something valiant in battle, he gets his shot to kill Askeladd in a fight. Okay. And of course he loses. And it starts out as a revenge story, and then after about the 4th volume, it becomes something completely different.
Oh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be really, really good, and you're giving it a glowing review. So I guess I might I don't need another gigantic epic to read, but I'm probably gonna have to get around to it one of these days. Because
do you read a lot of manga?
I do read a lot of older stuff.
Okay.
I've not read a lot of newer manga, but yeah, I mean I kind of grew up on the classics like Akira and Ghost in the Shell, Battle Angel, Blade of the Immortal. That's another one that I really like.
I've never read that.
That one's so good.
Yeah.
Fist of the North Star might be kind of my secret favorite. Like, it's not my favorite, but I really like it a lot. So there's a lot of good stuff out there. But no, I've never read Vinland Saga, so definitely gonna have to check it out.
Yeah, check it out.
All right, I got one last book to talk about today. It is a one-shot, standalone, new comic from Oni Press called The Goddamn Tragedy.
Whoa.
I said we were going to keep it clean, but you know what? It's the title of the book, so we're just going to say it. The Gosh Darn Tragedy.
Yeah.
I liked this a lot. It's basically a Western horror. It is playing on it's kind of riffing on the Donner Party story.
Oh.
So the story opens with like a writer's office, and a woman confronts him, and she's like, "Oh, you wrote a story called The Gosh Darn Tragedy," and he's like, she's like, "I'm here to tell you that you got everything wrong." And he's like, well, it was all sourced from the only survivor. And she's like, I'm the survivor. And so she kind of retells the story, which if you're kind of like, I don't know if you've ever actually read up on the Donner Party story, other than just the stuff that's known in pop culture, that it's really muddy of like what actually happened. And the only accounts that we have are from, I think there were 2 survivors, and one of them was like a little kid, and it wasn't like a reliable source.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this is. So the main character is like, I was a little kid and I was almost dying and I didn't know what I was saying. So, and everybody just took advantage of me, just printed whatever, and then just attributed it to me. So this story is her kind of retelling it, like laying the facts straight. And so it's kind of like that, the story of the Donner Party mixed with The Shining, if that makes sense. They're on like the Oregon Trail or the California Trail, I guess, and their dad is kind of a loser. He's kind of a schmuck, and he gets taken in by this trapper who sells him a map that has a secret shortcut.
Who doesn't look evil.
Who doesn't look evil at all. Yeah, he's got a huge scar and a glass eye, and so they go on this like isolated path through the mountains, and then they kind of have some secret visions. They see a Native American, and they don't know what's up with him. And they get caught in a blizzard, and they're trapped.
Yeah,
and the dad keeps talking about this trapper that he met on the trail that's going to help them. And they're like, oh, does he even exist? Are you... Because the dad also is a horrible alcoholic. Like I said, the shades of The Shining. And the little girl is the only survivor of the story. But she's a survivor because of it opens with her claiming to be the survivor.
It's
tricky. Yeah, I don't want to like spoil it per se, but yeah, there's definitely there's like, it's told really well where you're not certain if there's a supernatural element. It's like a campfire ghost story, really, where it's just like all this weird stuff happened and I don't know what's real and what's not, but I swear to God, this is what happened to me. Like it's that kind of a thing. And the art is it's really what would you call this? It's a little looser than like the standard book, but it kind of plays into the surreal nature of it being like a ghost story. I like the way the characters are presented. There's like few lines as possible, and it's kind of got this like washed color. Like there is color on the page, but it gives it a sepia tone effect, where it just kind of looks old and washed out. Yeah, just color is used really well, like sparingly for specific things. So I highly recommend this. If you like weird westerns, I think you'll really like this. If you like campfire horror stories, yeah, it's really, really good. All right, that's everything that I got for today.
Oh.
So yeah, we're gonna call it just right on time. So, all right, thanks everybody for tuning in. Like our friend Dan says, what does our friend Dan say?
There's comics for everybody.
That's right. There's comics for everybody. It's not just superheroes. There's kind of all kinds of weird westerns and Viking revenge manga and mommy serial killers, which it just feels weird to say. It feels like that should have been censored. But all right, everybody. So swing on down to Fantasy Books and Games and buy some comics. Talk to me and Sam and all of our other friends and coworkers. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, I don't know how to end this thing. Oh my God, how embarrassing.
Oh no.